Hi, welcome to Chalk Talk Sports Podcast, powered by PoweringU. I'm your host, Daryl Duvall, inviting you to see us weekly. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Android. And just a little information on PoweringU. PoweringU was founded in 2015 to inspire and to enlighten people who are on a personal journey. With that in mind, we decided to create a platform to share the stories of great athletes and the things that motivate them. When it comes to motivations, athletes have to be trained to push themselves to another level. Leaders are trained to find out what motivates a team, and personal motivators drive individuals. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about sports and recruiting, high school recruiting, and COVID-19. We've never experienced anything like what we experienced today. It is crazy. We're learning how to live and work a different way. Then you have sports. There is none in the high school sports scene.
And my guest today is Nick Debose. Am I saying that last name right? Debose.
Yes, sir. You're saying it perfectly,
All
brother.
right. From Branded Sports. Nick has 20 plus years in sports industries, from coaching to sales and also entrepreneur. So I want to kind of bring Nick on, kind of tell us a little bit about himself, and then we can take the interview from that point. Nick, you got it.
Appreciate you having me on. First of all, Daryl, just getting the opportunity to be on such a powerful platform. I really like what you're doing of giving athletes a platform to have their own voice and to set their own code. But a little bit about myself. Grew up in Houston, Texas. Got five siblings, four sisters, one brother. Athletics were always a part of my life. Growing up, I played multiple sports, but football was my main sport. Went to Westbury High School, played sports there, was able to graduate and get a scholarship to Southeast Oklahoma State University. I was a 4-year starter there, team captain, all-conference performer. And after college, I got into coaching. Actually, one of my coaches, he thought that I would be a good coach and thought I should stick around and be a graduate assistant. I was having a son at the time, so it allowed me to stay in the area and also get my master's, which I ended up getting my master's in secondary education. And from that point on, I coached football, college football, for 10 plus years. Started out at Southeast Oklahoma State. Once I finished up there, coached at Texas A&M Kingsville, which is in South Texas, a very rich tradition university, also known as Texas A&I, with Darrell Green, Gene Upshaw, and multiple others that went to school. So they have a couple Hall of Famers. And then I was able to get a chance to start a college football program at the University of the Incarnate Word in San Antonio. And that was really special, coming from a place like A&M Kingsville with a lot of tradition, and then being able to have an opportunity to start tradition. And we started out Division II school, played in Division II in the Lone Star Conference for 4 years, and then jumped up to Division I AA FCS in 2013. And so finished out my coaching career in 2018, got out of coaching, moved up north to the DFW area to be closer with my son, and also got into sales and media. And so on the sales side, I sell sports safety equipment with Game Breaker and Helmet Fit and Clear Gear. All are, protective and safety equipment for multiple sports, mainly football. And I started out on the media side with theoldcoach.com, which is a high school recruiting and also scores, game recaps, basically a high school website in Texas. And so I did that in 2018 in the fall. Was able to go to games, every week, do in-game highlights, interviews, different things like that. And I really enjoyed it. And so starting this fall, I created Branded Sports and started to do those things on my own. So on the weekends, I would go to high school games, do post-game interviews, in-game highlights, also pre-game, leading up to the games, different posts on social media, on Twitter, Instagram. And then this spring, I started to, dip into the 7-on-7 market, going to tournaments each weekend, watching the teams, getting to watch players, players with 5 stars and players with no stars. And what I started to do was put out a list each week, or a couple lists each week, of top performers from the tournaments, top quarterbacks, top defensive players, and top sleepers. And I would do that for the high school division. Basically, in recruiting, media drives a lot of recruiting, and I wanted to be able to give student athletes a platform, to be able to market themselves, and not only student athletes, also organizations, and events. It's a place to come and market your event, market your platform, market your organization, because a lot of college coaches, me being a former college coach, use social media to recruit. And that's the power of social media, which I'm sure we'll get into, of everybody having control over their own narrative. And so branded sports has been really good. A lot of kids have gained a lot of attention, received some offers from universities, not only because of branded sports, but it definitely helped speed the process. So that's a little bit about me.
Nick, you did. Thank you for that intro. And again, social media has become a big part of recruiting in high school, and with what is going on in today's society with COVID-19, it is the only thing that the student athletes can do right now is showcase their skills in a different way. And again, that's why I kind of get to in this podcast that we're talking about today. It's kind of getting your perspective on recruiting in today's society. Also, I want to kind of go back to your first when you started off at Incarcerate Word in San Antonio. You were there when they were starting to build up that program, and I think was Ricky Williams a part of that build up too with you, or
Yes, he ended up coming, I think, in 2012. So we started in 2008 was when we founded the program. We redshirted everyone the first year and then started to play in 2009. And then he came along around 2012, 13 when we were making the transition from Division II to Division I.
and so and again going back to branded sports, this what you kind of launched out last year, and what are some of the feedbacks you got from some of the student athletes in you know this the new entrepreneurship platform that you kind of getting, and how receptive were them, especially because of you being a coach. I know that really helped you out a lot to kind of get into that, because I mean, having the getting the word from a actual Division 1 or Division 2 coach, and letting them take it, getting that ideas of what it's going to take. So if you can kind of go over some of the stuff that you kind of what you do with the kids and how you talk to them, and some of the stuff that you've done in the last year with the new branded sports.
Well, I get messages from kids all the time, thanking me for, just giving and putting them on the platform. I had a kid the other day that thanked me for putting him on the top performer list, because he told me ever since I got on that top performer list, I've had a lot more opportunities come my way. And I told him that's what I created this platform for. And so, anytime that you get to interview a kid, because you got to think about it. On the team, there are probably five, at the most on most team, big time guys, and all those guys get the attention. So when I'm going to a game or when I'm going to a tournament, it's whoever have the best game that day. It might not be the 5-star guy or the guy with all the offers. It may be a guy with no offers. And so that's my job and my passion to, give that guy some love, to help him market himself, to give him a platform to say, hey, this guy here, even though he may not be LSU material, he can be a Southeast Oklahoma material. He can be Incarnate Word. He can be a University of Houston. He can be a Texas Wesleyan. Just because all those, universities play football, they have opportunities, to continue your education and your athletic career. So whenever I talk to kids, I always, I ask them what their Twitter is. We talk about Twitter. If you're a student athlete now, you definitely need to have a Twitter, because college coaches use it. I tell them what to put in their head and in their Twitter. The year you are, your position, your GPA, if you have test scores, your huddle film, if you have any accolades, put all that in there, because that's like your resume. and also, talk to them about academics. Sign up with the NCAA Eligibility Center. Have you taken the test? You can't, if you haven't taken the test or signed the Eligibility Center, you can't take an official visit. So just educating them and tell them not to get frustrated with the process and what to focus on. But the first thing I always start out is academics, because I have a saying that even when I used to coach and recruit, and of course my name is Nick, and everybody knows Nick Saban, and I say I don't care if you're Nick Debose or Nick Saban. If your academics aren't right or you're on a qualifier, it's not a damn thing we can do for you.
Right.
You would have to take the junior college route or go another route, but you have to do your part before we can do our part. And the NCAA controls if you're eligible or not individual coach or university. So just educating them on, multiple things and really echoing the things that their parents, their coaches, the mentors, their trainers are telling them.
So, and so I'm gonna kind of go back to some of the social media stuff. What has been your experience with sites such as Facebook and Twitter, and how was the interaction with the public? So, from the previous conversation, you did tell me that you're working on your website, but you're doing a lot on the Twitter and the Instagram. So, how has that really helped you to get the word out on your new entrepreneurship uh, company? Branded sports.
Well, my target audience, student athletes, coaches, high school coaches, college coaches are my main audience. And Twitter is the biggest platform that they use to recruit, market, and push out information. And so that was why I started with Twitter, and my main focus, just because, like I said earlier, as a college coach, I couldn't, and I started recruiting Louisiana and Arkansas. I couldn't get out there and recruit those schools. But if I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see a kid's highlights, now that opens up a pathway of communication and an opportunity to discover another kid. And so, me knowing the power and understanding the power of Twitter and of putting your film out there, putting your video out there, putting your information out there, um, it has definitely helped me. Facebook, I haven't tapped in so much because Facebook audience is more of an older audience.
Right.
And I do tap in a little bit on my personal side, but I haven't taken branded to that side because I don't want to spread myself too thin. And with me understanding the Twitter audience and Instagram is more for the younger audience, for the kids to build the buzz because they like the pictures, they like the videos. They spend a lot of time on Instagram also. Like I said, Twitter for me are more for, communicating with the coaches and being the bridge between student athletes and coaches or high school coaches and college coaches. So that's how I kind of use those platforms and how they've been beneficial to me.
How do you feel about, have you used an Instagram Live?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Just because, when I work events, I'm doing a couple different things. I'm also working a lot of them with Game Breaker too, providing the protection for a lot of the events and the kids, the headgear. So I haven't did so much live, and also too, me understanding my platform. So if I work a tournament on the weekends, then I'm just going to get a whole bunch of footage, information, talk to coaches, take pictures of kids. And I'm not going to post a whole bunch of information. And then once I push the list out and start pushing things out, I do that over the course of the week. And so that's why I haven't did so much of the Facebook Live, just because I like to kind of stretch it out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are more my days of, blasting a lot of information out on the tournaments on the platform.
So what do you consider to be the pros and cons of using social media with sports?
Well, the pros and cons with social media, to me, depends on how you use it. If you use it in a negative way, it could be a con. If you use it in a positive way, it could be a pro. And that's not just in recruiting, that's period. No matter if you're personal, you're an entrepreneur, or however you're trying to market yourself or your organization or program, it's definitely, beneficial. And also, I would say, understanding those platforms, really go a long way and help you to understand your message too.
And what do you think the best way to gain more relevance on social media with student athletes?
I think to make sure when you're posting things, you're posting them in a business mindset, and that's hard for 14 to 18 to 19-year-old to do, because when they are thinking social media, thinking about their friends. And there are other platforms that you can do that on, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's Instagram, whatever else. But in a platform like Twitter, like I said earlier, that's your resume. And so the more positive things about yourself you can post, posting your workouts, posting your report card or your grades or your GPA, your test scores, any accolades you get, and just posting, positive things, anything you do in the community. Just really, opening up the world to who you are, and diving into who you are and who you want to be, because you might not be that person, but you're striving to be that person. So if people can connect with your message, they can connect with your, authenticity, and being very authentic in who you are. I think that's the best way. And posting your highlights, and not just posting things once, posting once a month, getting them out there, because even though you posted it that one time, um, it may be another time that you post somebody else may see. And so those are a couple things that you can definitely do to help market yourself.
Has social media affected your personal life and more like the traditional media? Um, and I kind of go back to in retrospect to what you've done in the past from the coaching to where you are right now.
Of course, a big deal on why, I chose social media to build a platform on social media is because when we were building Incarnate Word up and getting the name out there and starting the program, traditional media wasn't really gravitating towards something new, and especially in Texas in football, there's so many traditional universities. And so what I was able to do was have a platform to push out information, say, hey, here's some information about Incarnate Word. This is who we are. This is, what we have. Hey, we have Ricky Williams. He's a part of what we're doing. Hey, we have Tom Benson, who's, you know, God rest his soul, but a billionaire and the owner of the Saints and the Hornets. And he's our benefactor of our program. And that was really big. And when I went to and started recruiting Louisiana, he's a Louisiana guy. People gravitated towards that because in Louisiana, he's a legend. So, really getting out there and building that up helped me to understand, we all, no matter what you have, whether it's you're working for someone, you're building a personal brand, or you have a company, it's very using social media. I say this all the time, is like sending out thousands of a blast email a day. Whenever you post, that's like posting or sending out a bulk email every day to people. Some people you have the email addresses, some people you don't. And so really understanding that power, really being able to get the message out there and to articulate your own message. This is who we are, not this is who we people perceive us to be. And as a person, especially as a student athlete, you see it from NBA players to professional athletes to college or whatever, high school. You control your voice and you control who you are, no matter if it's good, bad, and different. You have the power to be accountable for all of your actions, and to also um, tell people your story.
And that is correct. I can say social media has definitely set a milestone in many aspects of life and sports, and and are no exception, especially what we're going through right now with the COVID-19, and it's kind of changing the way we actually living, changing the way we doing things, and making it where, I mean, again, we just pretty much right now are just in our house. I mean, trying to
Mm-hmm.
find different ways to basically uh you know, live. I mean, and this is where, podcasts, Zooms, and I mean, these things are becoming big ways to get the message out. And so I kind of leave it at you know, what do you think? What are some of the things that you think kids need to do in this situation when they're kind of going through the social, the recruiting? Because the 11th, the 10th, and 11th grade, this was their year. This was the 7 and 7. I mean, gearing up for football, spring football, and all that stuff is gone. So, what would you suggest kids do now to get ready for the fall? Because I mean, I pray that we do. I mean, if we can just kind of do what we need to do, hopefully everything will go back to normal by this fall, and we can start getting back to it. Because I mean, with no football, with no sports, it's just like, I mean, can't go outside. You can go outside and walk, but I mean, everything is just pretty much shut down.
Yeah.
So with the kids being in the house, some doing their work, but those are the ones that are actually trying to get it to the next level. What are some of the suggestions or ideas that you would kind of throw out there for them?
Uh, Number one, focus on what you can control. And a couple things that you can control. I think everyone right now should educate themselves as much as possible on the recruiting process and the academic requirements in order to play college football at each level, because at each level it's different. You have different academic requirements that you have to face. So number one, sign up with the NCAA Eligibility Center. Get online, get the information. You'll have to pay a fee, and you don't have to pay the fee right off the bat to sign up. You can actually get a waiver from your high school counselor, but you can get on there and sign up. You have to send your transcript in, send your test scores in if you have them through College Board. And so some of that stuff you can do online. Some of that stuff you'll have to wait till school opens, but you can definitely get online and sign up for that. Also, too, stay working out. You can do a lot of workouts in the house, whether it's push-ups, whether it's going in the backyard, whether it's, hey, going to the park for a little bit and get some running in or whatever, run around the neighborhood. Make sure you continue to work out, study film. And also, too, reach out to coaches. Start building those relationships. If you had a coach that came by the school or reached out to you previously, reach out. This is the time to reach out to him. Keep him updated on what you have going. If you have any, new film, I would definitely update my highlight video. Make sure you put your top 10 plays, really your top 5 plays up front. Sometimes coaches don't get past those 5 plays if they don't like what they see. So redo your highlight film. Make sure you put in your first 5-10 plays, top 10 plays on there. If you play multiple positions, make sure you put in those multiple position plays in those top 10 plays. But also trying to find out who recruits your area, from what school, because college coaches, a lot of them recruit areas. They just don't recruit their position. They recruit an area, and then everybody brings kids back from their area, and you pick, the recruiting coach get to pick, or the position coach gets to pick the top guys he like, and kind of operates from there. Most places operate like that. So, really start building those relationships. And getting your academic stuff done. It's not a time to slack off that. You should be making the hundreds, in every class. You got the internet, you got help, all that good stuff. So focus on everything that you control. And then, building your social media platform, especially your Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, create a Twitter. Make sure your Twitter name is close to your name as possible. It shouldn't be, Big Drip 92, because if I'm searching your name, I don't know who Big Drip 92 is, but right. I know who James Jordan is. And so make sure you're putting that in there. Make sure you watch what you put on there. You can't have fun, but, try to stay away from the cursing and the, sexual stuff and all that good stuff. But really just do your research. Reach out to people who are in college. Ask them about their experience or what did they do to get there. No matter if they're there now or older people or whoever else, but really start doing your research and controlling what you control. That would be my advice.
And what are you doing with branded sports right now because of with all the stuff that's going on with COVID-19? And you pretty much, again, we go back through social media and,
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of reaching out. So, I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of wanted to, because of potential, the spring games have been canceled. Summer
Mm-hmm.
is still most likely. Right now, I'm hearing coaches are saying that pretty much people are close. I mean, they're not doing any camps this summer. So, what are you doing right now to prepare yourself for the fall?
Well, right now during the spring, what we're doing now, continue to pump out, student athletes. Whether it's highlight tapes, whether it's they're getting offers, pumping out previous lists that we've had of top performers, top sleepers, and also too, building up the following, not just with student athletes, but also with college coaches. College coaches are now starting to pay attention more to the platform, so starting to build those relationships to them, see how we can, be, of service to them. And also to, putting together some other things in the works as far as different lists, ways that we can, have some fan interaction on the platform. And like I said, also to putting together the website. But, this summer, this fall, just continue to pump those guys out. We'll go to some camps whenever they open back up. Or some combines, or hopefully all that stuff will be opened up, by this summer and the end of the summer, and then this fall, we'll continue to go to games each week, have a player of the week. We'll have fans. You decide the player of the week. We have nominations. Let you nominate, because our motto at Branded Sports is, "Your brand did it, our brand did it. Now we're branded," and
Right.
so. That's what we want to do, is just continue to work with the people, work with, organizations like yourself, different events, and get through this together. And also, like I said, continue to pump out, recruiting information of, eligibility center, testing. I know testing is kind of slow. So we're kind of, in a way, doing as much as I can, and then kind of see, have a couple different options, depending on, how long, things before they go back to normal, as normal as they will be.
Well, Nick, I want to thank you for being on this podcast, kicking it off, re-kicking it off for 2020. I mean, again, this is the best time to start doing stuff like this, because I mean, social recruiting for student athletes, and kind of getting your perspective on it from being a coach to a player, a coach to entrepreneur. So you have all those aspects that go in there. So again, this is Nick from Branded Sports. He's at BRANDID Sports. Also, you have Daryl Duvall from PoweringU. What motivates you? Check us out uh, at POWERINGU. Again, we look forward to hearing back from you. We're going to be doing a weekly series on recruiting, and stay tuned for it. Nick, thank you for being my first guest, and I look forward to hearing back from you and talking to you.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
God bless you.